Hi again, welcome to my hobby prison. And I picked up one of these. The titanium Fluxcore welder 125 from Harbor Freight Tools. I need to jump in here real quick and just let you know that this video is scattered. I'm working on 3, arguably 4 or 5 topics in this video alone, and the first one obviously is the titanium welder from Harbor Freight Tools, and then I picked up and used the bestarc BTC500DP plasma cutter I got from Amazon. I'm using that to work on this project that I'm working on, which is making a mounting bracket for a 20-inch off-road light from Temu. So we are doing that in this video, not to mention mounting that light and then wiring it in. So there's a lot going on in this video. The plasma cutter starts about minute 19:24. Anyway, you've been warned. Other than that, I hope you enjoy the video. It was a lot of thought, and I think it turned out good. It might be entertaining to watch. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in. Now back to the video. I picked it up off the 4th of July weekend sale. It was 15% off. So I saved $22.50. So basically that almost buys some Fluxcore, which doesn't come with it. And then I had to buy a welding helmet because I don't have one. This was $79.99. It was on sale for $59.99, so I saved $20. I didn't buy extended warranty on this because I'm probably only going to use it maybe twice. Let me show you what we're going to do today. After we unbox that, I got this light bar from Temu. I think I only paid $7 for it. Anyway, I thought it would fit up here, but if you take the bumper off, there isn't any place to mount anything. This is just plastic. And I've seen guys mount lights to that, but I don't know, I really don't trust it. So thought we'd build ourselves a light mounting bar. And I've never welded before. I welded in high school. I didn't pass the class, but basically I've never welded. I thought what we would do is build something that comes up like this, a plate that comes across, and then back down into here, and then there's a place you can run some bolts through right here to bolt it up against this piece. Thought that's what we'd work on today. So let's get unboxing that and get on with our project. Well, I started unboxing it, but I didn't push record. Anyway, it comes with the tips, quick start guide, which is basically what I need because I've never welded before, and the welder. This quick start guide is pretty handy, and basically we got to load the wire. Strap. Probably won't ever use that. Well, maybe, who knows. All right, install wire spool. This off. This off. Tensioner. All right, take this out. Well, let me get that out. Okay. Oops. Let me straighten that up. All right, let's try that again. So now we got to feed the wire into the welder. I'm trying to keep tension on the spool. And then it comes through there, but man, I'm nervous to let that wire loose. I think you did this. Maybe you didn't see that. So just in case, open this up. I mean, there's 8 jillion videos on how to do this right. So if you're watching this one, this is probably how you don't do it. We got to get it into this little feed slot right there. Hang on, I need 2 hands. All right, we're in. Close this back up. Not really sure how the tensioner works. Doesn't really say in the quick start guide. I guess if it pulls, if it slips, we'll know it's not tight enough. So we got to take the nozzle off, plug the welder in, turn it on, and press the cold feed switch until wire comes out. I don't know where that is. Found it right there. Cold feed switch. Let's take the tip off and feed the wire through. Nozzle and tip. Wonder if it comes out with a pair of pliers. Yeah, just took a little bitty pair of needle nose pliers and just break it loose. Take that out, and we're gonna plug it in and feed the wire through. Plugged in, turn it on. It's right back here. And then press the cold feed until the wire comes out. Looks like the tension's good. And there it is. Pretty cool. Now, I don't get this part, but the instructions say to adjust the tension knob until you can get this to bend at 2 to 3 inches. And I don't get it. I mean, it's gonna bend no matter how far you put out, but for now, I'm just gonna guess that the tension's right. We gotta unplug it and put the nozzle back on. Ground wire. This thing might be ready to go. We better open this up for safety. This is my auto adjusting helmet. They have a lot less expensive ones there, but this one was 20 bucks off. And well, heck, I don't know anything about them, so $20 off seems like a good deal. This is battery operated. Probably should take this off. And this probably needs to come off, only because I'm sure that sparks will melt it anyway. It's pretty lightweight. Not that I know any better. As long as I can weld without going blind, I guess that's the most important thing. So you got a bag of batteries and another piece of glass or a lens. Owner's manual. Well, since I don't know anything about it, I better read it. I'll get back with you. This is the inside of the helmet here. There was a clear plastic thing. I didn't record it, I forgot. And the battery goes right up here. And it's got a cover to it right there. So I'm gonna put the battery in, and then we can do the settings right there. Well, that was a little bit fiddly, but we got it in. Okay, well, I found this. Let's do this instead. Now, maybe this was in the owner's menu. I don't remember reading about it, but well, I did read about it, but I don't remember saying take this out before you do anything. There's that. And then there's another cover we need to take off here. So if I were you, I would just go ahead and take that inside cover out first, peel the outside protection off where you can get to the edges, and then do the inside. Then we'll fiddle around with the settings. And this is learn as you go. The owner's manual's not really, I have ADD. Maybe I just didn't pay attention enough, but the battery goes in this way, not this way. Nope. It goes in with the positive side facing up, the negative side facing those connectors. maybe well, I finally got it all set up. Anyway, you're just gonna have to screw around with the owner's manual and try to figure out the settings on your own, because it's not very user friendly. It's probably pretty easy once, especially if you know what you're doing. For me, it was a little bit of a challenge to figure out, but I'm not very smart anyway. So my wife's got a chair that's got a broken weld on it. She asked me if I'd fix it. So let's try the welder out on that before we start building that light bar mount. All right, so it's broken. The chair part, the C part is broke right along here. So clean those up with the wire brush and try to go to work on that, see if we can fix it. I'm not really sure how this is going to turn out. Well, this will be fun. It took me a while to get it figured out, but I think that I don't have any welding gloves, of course. But right here. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. Yeah. Get it right here. Well, if you've never welded before, this would be, I think it'd be an okay place to start. I mean, I'm not touching this because it's hot. I burned through there, but I got penetration. And, you know, for my first time welding, I think it's okay, and it was pretty easy. So, practicing with our Harbor Freight Tools Titan welder. We're just gonna try this. Like I said, I'm not a welder. I don't weld. I've never done it really before. So we're gonna try that on that thick piece of metal to see if I can weld that piece back on that I just cut off with the plasma cutter. I don't think I'm getting any penetration. Well, we got a little bit. You're gonna have to do better than that. Bet we're getting penetration now. So you can turn it down a little to 9. Okay, we turned it down to 9. Tell already that's not hot enough. I mean, I turned it to 8. Now we're back to 9. Let's try that. 9 is definitely better. I'm gonna turn it up to 10 for this last little bit just to see. No, I haven't been showing my work. I turned it up to 10 for this last little bit, so let's see how it works. Yep, 10 is definitely better, I think. I bet it's a decent weld. Take a look at it. We didn't get it to go all the way through, but I got a heat signature all along the back. Like I say, I'm not a welder. I don't know if that's, I think that's good. Anyway, I'm gonna let this cool off and we'll take some final pictures and some final comments. Here's a picture of the weld. Man, there's lots of splatter, and then I've got a missing section right there I didn't get. I think the splatter means it's too hot. I'm not sure, but while I was welding, when I would turn it down in this area, it didn't seem to flow as well, if that's the right word, but I bet that weld's gonna hold for, I don't know, it's not like I'm building a roll bar, I'm just experimenting and practicing with a new welder. It's all cooled off. I cleaned up, there's a lot of splatter. I was obviously doing something wrong. The instruction says it was either too hot or the wire was going too fast, but I'm gonna put it in the vise and see if we can bend it. But we have to go quick because right above my vise, death from above. So we gotta be quick. We're just gonna try to break that weld. I'm not gonna try real hard, but looks like it's holding okay. So I'm gonna call that, for somebody that doesn't know how to weld, a win. Light bar mount for Whiskey Juliet. About the only measurement I've got is 11.5 inches for the top part, and we're just gonna go from there. So if you wanna see me use the welder some more, stick around. If you don't, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and for guys that wanna watch somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, try to build a light bar mount, stick around. Not very big. And so I've got my 10-inch mark right here. These are the outside mounts. They're gonna be at, there's 3 mounts. I took one off because I was trying to figure out a different way to mount it, but there's not. You're looking at 10 inches, and I'm gonna go 11.5 to give me some margin of error. So right here, can you see that mark? That's my 10 inches center to center bolt. If I take a 11 inch, 11.5 inch, that would give me a little bit. See, there's 11.25 from outside mount to outside mount. Do a little, we're gonna do 11.5 inch. And we're gonna use this. This, I can't believe how much this was. This was like $24 for a 2-inch by 36-inch, 1/8-inch stick of flat bar. Stupid, huh? 11.5. We want to cut this side of the mark is right at 11.5, so we're going to cut that out with the angle grinder. Yep, 11.5. We did pretty good. I was thinking about how I'm going to do this. I'm making it way more complicated than it needs to be. So what I thought about, why don't I take a piece of this and bolt it to the front fascia of the Jeep, and then, well, that's where this would go, and then have a piece of here welded like this with a couple of 45-degree braces in the middle, and then just bolt this piece as a unit. It'd be kind of like this, and bolt this piece as a unit onto the fascia of the Jeep, and then bolt the light bar to this. That's what I thought. So come over here to the Jeep, and it ain't flat. So bend it somehow to that, and then weld a piece up here on top like that. So that's what we're going to work on today. I think that'll be easier than having this piece and then braced clear over here like this, that you're still going to have to bend. I don't know, I think this is the best way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this positioned up here, centered, kind of like that. This is the center mark, and this is the center of the grill, and then just take a marker and trace underneath there so I get the radius right, and try to bend a thing from that. Okay, that's the plan. Okay, there is our curvature. It doesn't look real even, but I'm not really sure what to do about it. Cut a piece off and try to start to bend it so it moves kind of in that direction, and then we'll mount it up onto the Jeep and see how well it lines up. You know what? It's probably gonna be okay, because it doesn't wobble. So now we just gotta cut a piece that'll fit on there too. I got me a plasma cutter a while ago. Got it off Amazon. I've never used it before. We're gonna try it out. We've got to cut this curved line right here. We're gonna see what we can do. I can't see what I'm doing. And turn it up a little. Well, guess we're getting the grinder out. Man, it did not do good at all. So I wanted to give this plasma cutter a fair shake and not tell you that it doesn't work right, because I don't know how to use it, but I've been practicing with it and it works really good. Let me show you. I've got this, gosh, how thick of a piece of steel is that? I don't remember. Let me find out. Okay, it's 1/8 inch. I've got it plugged in the 110 outlet. It's on 55 PSI for the air pressure and 31 amps. It cut right through that. And you'll see it doesn't have a lot of, I can't remember what they call that, but the stuff along the bottom, it doesn't have a lot of that. This is quite a bit thicker steel. This is 3/16. So I've plugged it into my 220 and turned the amperage up to 40 amps. And we're gonna see if it cuts as well. To me, like, it cut it okay. I messed up a little bit, but I think it's all right. I think it does good. I think this is a good plasma cutter. So if you want to try if you need a plasma cutter, this thing, like I said, I got it when I applied for Amazon's credit card. I think I paid 80 bucks for it. I think it lists for 160 something. I'll put a link in the description. As little as I know about cutting metal with a plasma cutter, I can do it. You probably can too if I can. So I've got a bit of an odd problem here. This is going to sit here, and it's going to sit on top of the bumper, but it can't bolt into the bumper. It's going to have to sit like this. So this is going to be here. The bumper's going to go over the top, and then I'm going to have to bolt this through here. So I'm not going to have access to this to hold the nut on. So what I'm going to have to do is pre-drill some holes and then weld on the nuts on the bottom of this. So that's no big deal, right? Except that the way this mount works, what it's meant to do, it's meant to mount these like this, and then put it in the mount and then screw the nut on it and tighten it up. I'm not going to be able to do that. Well, I forgot to turn the recorder on, but I basically just went back here a 1/2 inch and then put a mark somewhere in the center and then 5 inches out from each side, and we're going to draw holes in there. Right, so this is about how it's going to mount. And this will be, the bumper will be right here. This will be sitting on top of the bumper. The bumper will be here. And then we'll need to mount this like this. And I just need to see if we can feed a bolt up through here to get into those, to get those nuts in. Here's the nut. Gotta make sure we've got it lined up somewhat. Yeah, I mean, it's probably gonna be challenging to get it to see it, but I think we'll be able to get it, maybe. Yeah, we got it started. I think I got that one started too. Yeah, we got that one started too. One more. Yeah, I think this is gonna be really kind of a pain in the ass. You can't see what you're doing. You can't get your finger in there to feel where that nut is. Depending on how much patience you got, I think it's definitely doable. It's kind of what I was going for. See if that was doable and not have to cut a notch in there. And then once you get that down, slide your light bars where you need them. Well, it appears like it's going to work. And I was able to tighten the bolts down. Looks like it's going to be fairly steady. It's just going to be a pain in the ass to try to get those bolts in the back down. Next thing is we got to start welding up our piece. This is the piece right here. This is going to go against the bumper fascia like this. And then I cut this. You saw I couldn't get it with my plasma cutter, so I just cut it with the grinding wheel. Picked up some of these from HFT, Harbor Freight Tools. Try to put them on to keep this on a parallel while we, just to tack weld it in place. Now, let's see, do we do it this way or do we do it this way? This part fits really good on the base and this part is not real good, so I think what we'll do is we'll weld this to this and then we'll come around with the grinder and the wheel and clean it up so it has a nice crisp edge along here. I've never welded before, so I really don't know how it's going to work out. I know all I need to do is tack weld I want to get it perpendicular and then tack weld it on here. I think that'll work. I wasn't gonna get these, but I think that's probably a good idea. Look at this. You can see how it's not really that good of a... We can weld this piece to this piece and then come back with the cutter, a cutoff wheel and clean it up. I guess now let's try to weld it. A lot of splatter. Looks like we got it on the outside though. This looks like a good weld clear up here, but not down there on the bottom where it's supposed to be. Let me try it again. Still heavy up on top. That might be better. What that means too much splatter. Let's look it up. So it says I turned it down 1 to see if we can get the splatter down, which is probably bad technique really, but really one way to learn, and it's just to do it. Might be okay. Gonna try a little bit more when the welder cools down, I guess. But overall, for my first weld, I'd say that's not too bad. We'll come back with a grinder and clean it up. All right, so I ground it off a little bit. I got a couple of spots that I need to touch up, but for holding a few off-road lights and my first weld, I think it's okay. Yeah, I don't know, but looks like I got penetration there to me. Got all the welds cleaned up and the pieces cleaned up. I got this all evened out. It's pretty good. And basically I just took the grinder, the angle grinder with the grinding disc on it and just grinded it down so it was even with the back. Now we need to drill some holes in here so we can have a place to put the bolts through and screw them into the fascia bumper of the Jeep. These are M10s by 125s, and I got this because I have a tap, an M10 125 tap that I got when I ruined my, I don't know, something on Whiskey Juliet, probably the windshield wiper mounts. Anyway, so we're gonna figure out a place to have that. This is an 11/32. According to the chart, this is what you need to tap in a M10 1.25 pitch bolt. So we're going to start out, we're going to just make some marks probably a 1/2 inch in from here or 3/4 inch in from the edge, and then kind of space them out kind of evenly, and we'll do the same thing over here. And then we're just going to drill the smallest hole that we can so we can take this and push it through that and mark it on the bumper on the Jeep. You'll see what I'm talking about. So we went a 1/2 inch inside, and then we're gonna go a 1/2 inch from the top and a 1/2 inch from the bottom. We just want it barely big enough to let the tip go through to mark that bumper. So maybe let's start off with a 9/64. See how that works out. Let's see if the pin marks through there. Yep. I got the halfway mark marked on here. This is the middle, so we're right here. And all we're gonna do is put black marks in where these holes are down here, and we're gonna drill them out. Okay, I got CS out here helping. She's gonna mark the holes while I hold this tight against that Jeep. Okay, we're good. Drill these, we'll punch them and drill them out and tap them. Then we'll take our bigger drill bit. This is the one, the 11/32. Now we'll see if we can tap that in. 10 millimeter with a 1.25 pitch. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if this metal's thick enough. But we're definitely gonna try it. All right, and all right, that's gonna work. We've got a 1/8 inch drill bit in there now. And a stuff dropper. This part right here does not come out far enough to mount anything. So we cut a piece of this. This needs to come out about an inch further in here. So I cut this piece and we are going to weld it on to this mount. Of course, we're going to take the mount off, but that's where we're going for next. And then that should be far enough out where we can drill some mounting holes for the light. It should be pretty close, and we're just gonna tack this part onto this part in a couple of places, and then we're gonna remount it and see what it looks like. Looks like it's solid enough to try it out. So it sticks out a good inch more. Let's see, I measured from here to here, should have been 4 3/4. Of course, I didn't write it down. Let's see where I'm at. Well, it's hard to say, but it's pretty close. If the bumper fits on here, like right up to the edge, I think we're good. Okay, well, it won't go in there any further. That's it. I think we're pretty good. Right there. I think this should fit. We gotta put that other grill on though. All right, this mark right there is the center. Drill a hole in it where we're at. This is the moment of truth. I don't know if you can see this, but probably not, but I can see the metal plate down through there. So if I can get this in there, nope. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do it with this. Now we should be able to see that mark. All right, there's our mark. Go 5 inches out from center on that. Drill our holes. So far, so good. Next step, we're gonna take the bracket off and we're gonna weld the nuts to the back of this. You can already tell they're not on there even. See how close to the edge this one is? And that one's further away from the edge. Hopefully you won't be able to notice once it's on the vehicle. We're gonna weld these. We won't have to get underneath it because there's no access. A few more welds down here. I'm pretty sure that's not going to go anywhere. This one, it didn't stick. You can see back here, I didn't get any penetration at all, so we're going to try it again and see if I can do better. I think I might have got penetration that time. Hopefully, we'll see. So far, everything I've done with this deal has been eyeballing. This styrofoam thing comes from the back of the bumper and it's held on by this push clip on this stem. So I just wedged it so I could get that off, and then I pulled it out. Then I put the mounting bracket on the bumper the way it's supposed to go. Then I took a scratch awl, came from the back where the bolt's gonna go, and I pushed it through to make a hole right here. That way I'll know where to drill. And I did it on the other side too. So now we just gotta drill a hole out. Pretty easy. Now we're just gonna put the bumper on and see if we can hook the brackets into it. Put the bracket on, bumper back on, and see if we can screw the light bar attachments into the bracket. Put this back on together. Okay, that's where that little stem is. This is the keeper. And just thread it on there. And then I'm just gonna take a 3/4 inch deep socket and push it down there with that. And that's it. You know, this has not been a simple deal. I broke one of the bolts and I had to replace it with this. I cannot find this bolt. It's at 8 by 1.25, but the head is a 12 millimeter. You can't find that. Plus you can't find one this short. So I had to buy a bolt and modify it, but I think it'll work. So we're just gonna see with the bumper on if we can get these mounted. They go like this. And then we should be able to finish up this part of the project. We're not gonna mount the light right now. I just wanna make sure the bolts are lining up and they're catching. Yeah, this, you can't find this one. This part of this has been really a pain in the butt. It really has, it's been bad. Well, that tightened up, that got on there. We'll try this other one. Follow these 3 mount, and we can call this part of the project basically done, except for finalizing some stuff like bolting it onto the frame. And I'm probably gonna, yeah, it's catching, so we're good. Well, it took a little bit to get the bumper in the right spot, but yeah, we're good. I'm gonna sand this off so I can get the tack weld on it. Yeah. All right, so that should hold it. So what I'm going to do is clean up those welds and then hit it with some self-etching primer and some paint, and then this project is done. Took way more time than I thought. All right, guys. I just saying guys all the time just drives me nuts. Anyway, I'm gonna hit this with just some clear, just because it doesn't matter nobody's gonna see it, and I'm almost out of it, so. Just hit it with that, a couple of coats, and we'll call this part of the project done. That's exciting. All I'm gonna do is put the bumper on and make sure the bolts work, but I think it's good. For all intents and purposes, that light bar is mounted. Now, I can't mount the light on it yet because I finished up Whiskey Juliet. Once it's all painted up and put back together, then we can mount the light on it. So we're gonna have to hold on finishing up this video until then. All we've got to do with her is color sand it, clear coat it, cut and polish the clear coat. So it's almost ready. I had the bumper on, but when I was putting the, trying to make sure everything fit before I started recording, I was putting the bolts through here and they weren't lining up with the nuts on the bottom. So I took my drill, I was drilling and trying to go real careful, but I drilled right through the nuts. So I had to cut the nuts off, and now we're gonna weld some new ones on the back. Try it again. This is gonna be interesting because I've never done this before and I can't keep my welding helmet on my head. I don't need it on there real stupid tight because I'm not torquing anything on there with any importance, so I think that's okay. Let's do the next. Well, I forgot to push the record button. So I've already got these brackets tightened up on the back. So we just gotta see if we can fit them in there and then screw them in there. Well, that wasn't too bad. It was some slow going, but they tightened up good. Now all we got to do is put the grill on, and then we can wire it up and see if it works. I will tell you though, don't get your off-road lights from Temu. It just little things like the attachments and the brackets and stuff they're just weak. Picked up this wiring harness from Amazon. I can't remember how much it was. It wasn't very much, $8 or something. I don't know, it looks decent enough. The wires for the switch for the inside are gonna be too short. If I mount the relay over there and I run the wire up this way, down through the firewall, this is not gonna be long enough, but that's okay. I can get some more wires. Anyway, can pull the headlight out. Probably there's a little gap in there. I might be able to sneak this past there. So tuck it up under here and then through there. And it comes with 2 hookups if you wanted to hook the 2 lights up. We've got the wires. They don't tuck up under there, but this goes to the light. I don't know how I'm gonna fasten that, but it's got it coming around here, and the extra is zip tied to the hood release. Comes out through here, tucked up nice and neat into the grill. Then I'm going to mount the relay right here with a self-tapper, and I check the hood and it does shut. Damn, this is not a good spot for that apparently. Put my ground wire right here. The wiring harness came with its own switch, and of course I don't want that one. I have to have a cool one, so I got this one, but this one has 4 wires, and the wiring harness only has 3, and this switch only has 3. So I figured this out. Hopefully it'll save you guys some time. So the blue one right here is the main power wire. So that goes to the red wire in the wiring harness. The black one goes to the ground. These 2 wires are for the, I think for this LED around the light switch, but they wrap together and then they connect to this white wire right there. And then when you turn this switch on, I don't have it wired up right now, I'll show you later, but when you turn that switch on, the ring the light around it comes on. So I've got this routed around here. I'm gonna have to get some more wire, but right now we're gonna find a space through the firewall. So I'm looking for places to run those wires through the firewall, and I was able to get this little grommet out right here. I'm not really sure what it's for, but all the wiring fits through over there. But then I was poking around, and this is the main wiring harness, and it's already got 2 holes wore in it right there. So I'm just gonna reroute it through that, and that way that'll pick up. And then this, maybe I could put some flex seal or something around that, but that should work out okay. This is actually a pretty easy deal. I routed the wires up through that main harness grommet and up under the dash, and then over, because I'm gonna mount it on this side like that. And this thing just came off, and I put my switch right here, and now I just gotta snap that back together and pull the wires, you know, somewhat tight. Be back in a minute. So I got the wires harness somewhat secured underneath the dash, so should just have to plug this in. It only goes on one way. Should be it. Put it back in here, it just snaps in. Anyway, okay, here's where the wires come out of the firewall. You gotta route them more or less just up around here. Wire loom, I'm sure. Clear over to here, and we'll cut those connectors off, and we'll just wire them up together and put a wire loom on it. Show you what it looks like when I'm done. All right, okay, here we got this wire loom is the, you know, so I've got it in the split wire loom. It's a pretty clean install. Not a lot of wires hanging around, and it's all hooked up. And I'd say this would be the moment of truth, but I've already tried it and I know it works. So let me show you. Now this isn't on with the switch, the ignition. It's just battery powered. So I got my blue halo and my Timu off-road lights. It's done. A couple things. I really need to figure out what to do with this. Gorilla Tape, maybe, I don't know, but I don't like that it's just there. And I lost my headlight screw. It's only 14 feet long. I don't know where it is. Probably start the Jeep and it'll. So what I did was I found, there's these holes, just, I don't know what they're for, but I took some nylon straps I found at Harbor Freight Tools and I just secured it right there. So at least this part's secured. It won't be moving around. You could probably put some more around here, you know. But anyway, that's it. Thought I'd take us out on a drive time at night and try out this little Temu 20-inch off-road light. I'm not driving very fast because, well, the washboard will make it so you can't hear me. But this is low beam, high beam. All right, low beam off-road light coming up. Big difference. And off-road high, or the off-road light and the high beam. So you can see that okay, this is the high beam with the off-road light off, off-road light on. So you can see that it helps out with the short, close distance, but not so much in the long range. But, you know, that's okay. If you're not going real fast, you don't need long range. But, like I said, I don't remember what I paid for this light, but it was like, I think $7. I like it. It's okay. Oh, let's see. I'm doing something new. I'm going to rate this light with the Vic heads. So the rating is 1 is poor, 5 Vic heads is the best. I'm going to give this 2 Vic heads. But you know what? You paid $7 for it. So $7, 2 Vic heads. Yeah, it was worth it. I don't know if it was worth all the effort to build a mount and mount it, but their results are definitely worth $7. Do not buy your off-road lights from Temu. The wiring harness I got from Amazon was, I think it's okay. I had to get more wire though because the wiring for the switch inside the cab wasn't long enough. But if the battery is next to where you're going to mount your switch, it's probably be long enough. I spent $30 on 20 gauge wires because I had to buy 3 rolls. I'm sure somebody that knows what they're doing could have got it for a lot cheaper than that. The other thing is, I really, really, really like that welder. It's just easy to use and it's a good skill to have and it wasn't that expensive and it's come in real handy. I built that mount. I've never welded before, well, except for high school, which doesn't count because I failed it. But I built that mount for that off-road light. Not only that, but I put welded spacers onto the mount and welded the nuts to the mount so I could screw it in there through the bumper. It's handy to have around.
You have to edit that.
I'm not editing it. We're gonna call that's it. Just gonna say, if you've got some welding projects, not a lot, and you don't know how to weld, that little green welder from Harbor Freight, it was $129, $140, I think it was $145. I like it. It's easy to use, and I welded with it. I did some projects with it, so that was nice. And then the plasma cutter, if you got to cut steel, I definitely get that too. That was well worth it. It's been fun. So those are a couple tools. It's my opinion. You should pick them up if you want. You probably don't, but for somebody that can't do anything very well, they're perfect for me. They probably work for you too. Anyway, thanks for checking in with My Hobby President, and I'll see you again.